Uh, Stuart,
Yes.
I think I have a question. Um, how uh, how how do we know if something we would like to do is an impulse from the soul or a desire from the ego? How to distinguish?
Honestly, Luke, I get the how do we know questions all the time. And, there's a simple answer to that. When you experience connection with higher energy in the universe, when your everyday activities, serve that energy and serve yourself to grow spiritually inside. I mean, you don't ask, how do you know? It becomes living experience. It's only how do you know if you want to know in your mind. And honestly, the mind will never know.
Yeah, the issue is that there are things I would like to do. I get ideas or impulses or
Do them.
situations.
Don't think about and worry about whether they're correct or not. I mean, as long as you're not going out to hurt somebody,
Uh,
I mean, do the things that are inside you that you have ambitions to do. Some of them are going to be right on, some of them are going to be mistakes. All of them will be opportunities for you to learn. And
okay.
don't ever be afraid to do what your visions are, what your ambition is, what you want to do with your life. All it will do will teach you how to grow and how to get closer to having a spiritual life. So it's nothing to, well, shouldn't do, to, you know, and I've done that most of my life, even today, the way I'm living. If I would have thought about this, my God, I said, all right, what does this have to teach me? How can I grow because of this? What can I do to become less steward and more a servant of God? And then it all comes together. And it doesn't come together because the mind understands it. It comes together because it's living experience. You go through it, your whole inner life, your chemistry changes. So if you have wonderful things that you really would like to do them. Don't even think about it. Just do it.
Yeah, it's just that um, I have been I have how to say that um, I have the impression that I have done that in the past,
That's your what?
and it's brought me more chaos, more crap, more difficult life, uh, and so on.
You'll have
So
to excuse
I'm
him.
not sure
But
about
Luke, what brought you more difficult, more chaos? What did you do?
uh, stupid things that made me feel better in the moment, and
Well,
stuff like that. Eh?
but they're not stupid things. They're just things teaching you what not to do.
Yeah,
They're
took a
not.
long time then.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
They're not stupid. They're just, look, how many stupid things I've done in my life. I mean, I wouldn't even, I don't, I won't think about or even count them. Every single one of them was a teacher for me that said, Stuart, you have to live your life differently. Every single one of them, led to me being sitting here in this class with each and every one of you.
Mm-hmm.
The stupid, the smart, the this, the that, you know. And I don't think there's anything like that. There's just opportunities to experience how to grow.
Yes. Uh, don't be afraid.
Huh?
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, don't hurt anybody.
Yeah, of course.
and do things in life. Take chances with your life. I mean, I've done that so many times in my life. And yeah, it was nerve-wracking. Now it's not, but it used to be really nerve-wracking to me. Should I, shouldn't I? And I got stronger inside and I stopped asking that question. Okay, what will I do now? And I do. And I honestly, over the last, it all comes together. It all has made it possible, I'll repeat it, for me to be sitting here in front of all of you, sharing whatever I've learned in my life, my connection with God, Spirit, hoping that all of you can grow and learn from all of this and get your own connections with God. It all led to this moment. So there are no stupid things. I mean, I remember, honestly, I won't tell you where it was. I was sitting in a prison. And I said, Stuart, your life has reached the bottom of where it can go. And it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. My whole life changed. 3 weeks after I left that place, I met my spiritual teacher, Rudy, because I changed inside. I said, no, I cannot continue to go this way.
Yeah.
And that was probably the stupidest thing I ever did in my life. And it saved my life. It stopped me from really getting into trouble.
Yes, it's clear. Thank you.
You're welcome. Not that I recommend anybody going to prison. I mean, it's not fun. But all those things, they serve you if you're smart about the way you use them. Does anyone else have a question? I can only talk from my own life, I can't talk from, I don't read books about this. I just live it, it's just my living experience. And I try to share that with all of you. So I can honestly say some of the stupidest things I've ever done turn out to be some of the smartest things I've ever done. Because they taught me so much about what I really wanted in my life. What not to do. Does anyone else have a question?
Stuart,
Yes,
Laura,
yes, Laura.
um, is it normal? Everything, what is coming up, it's coming up through my heart and it's hurt.
I didn't quite understand. Is what
You know,
normal? There's
when I
nothing normal. I've never met anything normal in my life. But anyway, go on.
when I meditate, or if it's something coming up, it's coming up every time through my heart, and it's very difficult. Sometimes it hurts. I can feel my heart. It hurts.
Well, dear, it's telling you how important it is for you to open your heart. How deeply you need the experience of what it means to live with your heart open, what it means to be strong enough to trust life, to trust people, to trust your experiences, to make choices in life that help you to grow. That's what it's telling you. Now, your job is to build the strength that can open your heart and keep it open. And then your entire world changes. Everything changes.
But I am trying, and what to do, anything else to open my heart.
Just,
I meditate and
Flora dear,
pray.
Flora dear, just feel gratitude. That's it. That's all you need to do.
I feel sometimes,
Sometimes it's not enough.
but
Look, let me ask you a question. I look at you and I see how much you've grown since the day I met you. I feel a lot of gratitude when I see you, seeing how far you've come in your life. Now, why can't you feel gratitude for how far you've come in your life?
you see, I feel gratitude, and it's oh my God, this English. It happens some good things for me now, and
Good.
I'm thankful. But I try to thank God, but it's hurt my heart when I have
So
pain
we
in my
take it, Flora dear, and everyone else, we take it a step at a time.
heart.
We take it a step at a time. You don't, you have a steak, I don't know how many of you vegetarian, eat meat, whatever, you don't eat the steak in one gulp. You got to chew.
Mm.
Slowly, you eat the steak. Well, this is the same thing, take it a step at a time, be grateful for each step you take, and let it grow. And, it's always going to be 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And don't get caught in the 1 step back. Be grateful for the 2 steps forward.
Okay. Maybe I have to like this period when I have pain, because it's come
I'll
from
finish
heart to
this, Laura. Wait a
head.
minute. Let me finish this. You're not perfect, Laura. And just accept that. You're not perfect. You don't have to be perfect. You have to take it a step at a time. Perfection is in the realm of God. The rest of us are in the realm of God, but we're working towards that perfection.
It is that it's my problem, because I want to be perfect.
Well, you can change your karma by just saying, I'm not perfect, and just laugh at yourself a little bit, huh? You're not perfect.
I didn't
I promise
know.
you, you are not perfect, or I am not perfect. None of
I
us.
know.
And probably the 8th deadly sin is this thing in people's brain thinking they have to be perfect.
My problem is when I meet somebody, or when I am with my children, I like them, and then I do so much things for them. Now I am tired. Is it that calls perfection? What is my problem?
We'll continue doing for them and growing because of it, and loving them unconditionally. That will get you stronger. That'll open your heart. Children, you have to love unconditionally. Unconditionally.
I don't know what is
And they're
unconditional.
going to do stuff that you get so upset about. They're always going to do stuff. Love them unconditionally. You'll get stronger. I have that with my daughter, God bless her. She does stuff like, oh my God, and then I have to go and be with her and talk. And I love her unconditionally. What can I do? It makes me grow. It makes me more of a human being. And it helps her too.
But my problem is that I can be angry to them because they are my children. But no, maybe 1 week I get angry in my side, in myself. Oh, I talk to myself and I'm angry. After that, I feel better.
Flora, look, this is the end of this. Okay, it's not your children. It's you. The children are there to show you that you can get angry. And love them for it. Okay?
Okay.
They're showing you you're not perfect. Love them for it. Don't get upset at them. Okay, thank you for showing me that I have to grow in my life. Okay.
It's very hard.
Well, who said it's easy? But it's certainly worth doing, huh?
Okay.
Does anyone finished with it? Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Everybody wants children. Children are a pain in the ass. They're not easy. I've never met anyone who's had an easy time with their children, you know? You love them, you grow because of them, and you love them unconditionally, you know? And they're really a very quick path to God, children. You have to surrender everything in order to deal with them and to allow them to be in your life and to, you know, and it's not easy, but it's worth it. Does anyone else have a question?
Yes, Stuart, regarding children, if they're interested in it, at what age would you recommend starting some meditative practice?
At what age would I recommend them doing what?
To start some meditation, in which form?
I don't know if, you know, look, I don't do that with children. I let children grow up, and if in their karma they need to do deep meditation, they will come to it. They will.
You don't offer it to them. They have
I
to ask
offer it
for
to
it.
them, but I don't force them to do it. I don't lecture them about it. This is good for you. It's available. It's available. Look, I've had people study with me that was 7 years old, for God's sake. I used to have a student, and she was incredible. She would sit and do deep work through the whole meditation class. And then, you know, people 50, 60, you talk to them, it goes right past them, you know? So it's karma. When somebody is ready to, I know, like, you go to the Hare Krishnas, they turn their children into whatever, you know, when they're 3 years old, they're walking around with all this stuff. I don't believe that. I believe it's all karma. And people come to this when they're ready to come to what I teach. Because certainly what I teach is a very deep thing. And people have to really get to a place where they're ready to do it. Now, Hatha yoga, yeah, I would recommend that to my daughter. She does it, you know, she does things like bar and all kinds of exercise. And, you know, and yes, great. But I would never force her to come and do this. When she's ready, she knows it's here. You know? And I think it's just a healthy way to raise children. So I don't have recommendations like that. If your children, anyone else's children, or, you know, I mean, Isa's daughter sent me an email, beautiful email, how she wants to come to this class, and, you know, and I'm waiting for her to finish school and see if she comes, you know. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, look, Ellie's children came, and I guess it wasn't for them. Maybe in a year or two, they'll grow up and beat their head against the wall a little bit, and they'll need something to help them, you know? But there's no way to sit and lecture children to have a spiritual life. They can only learn from your example. And if you grow and you love them unconditionally and help them in their lives that way, then they will find a path to a spiritual life. It might not be this, it could be, who knows what it could be. So I don't have any recommendations. I do recommend never stuffing it down the throat of a child, never forcing them to do it, because that's the quickest way to get them to run in the opposite direction. You know, children, they rebel against anything you tell them until they finally grow up. And they say, oh my God, you know, you told me this years ago, and oh, how good, I didn't listen. Well, now they do it, you know. I mean, they're welcome to come to what I teach, but I would be, you know, but they have to be ready, karmically ready to do deep inner work. Some children are. Most are not. They have to go through and beat their head against the wall. Like myself, went through 25 years of, terrible suffering and pain and difficulty until I met my teacher. Does anyone else have a question? I've heard children say, well, that's your path. I'll find my own path. I hear this from parents, their children say this. And ultimately, they'll discover there's no path. You do whatever you have to do to get to God. You learn from whoever helps you get there. Whatever helps you get there. This whole thing of a path is very delusional. When you're karmically ready to learn, to have a spiritual life, the universe will send you somebody to teach you. I mean this. When you're karmically ready, they will send you somebody to teach you. A meeting, they always say that the meeting between a guru and a disciple is always something that looks accident. There's no accidents. My meeting with Rudy, which was totally an accident, was not an accident. It's common. I walked past his store at least 500 times when I was younger. One day I walked in, my whole life changed. I was ready. Then it's what you do with it. You take advantage and use it to grow in your life and learn how to have a spiritual life. Does anyone else have a question? A friend of mine, I just finished, I used to have a very good friend, a French kid when I was younger. And he was the one who first told me about Rudy. He said, there's a guy on 7th Avenue South. There's this antique store there. He's a great teacher. And he told me he went to Rudy and asked if he could study with Rudy. And Rudy didn't take him as a student because the guy was seriously into drugs, and especially hallucinogenic drugs. And Rudy refused to take him, and he refused to stop doing the drugs. If he would have stopped doing the drugs, it's a big if. This young man probably would have been a remarkable being today if he would have studied with Rudy. He had such a deep spiritual need, and yet he substituted drugs for that spiritual need. And then I get a phone call one day that he died in a fire. He was 21 years old. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, He was a good friend of mine, and I really liked him, And I know if he would have said, okay, I'll stop this and learn what Rudy had to teach, God knows, maybe he's come back and he's sitting in one of Rudy's classes somewhere. Probably could be, Does anyone else have a question? Okay, well, thank you. God bless you all. And
Thank you. Thank you so much.
you know,
Thank you,
I say
Stuart.
it, I feel like a broken record, but you all are my teacher. And I'm just very grateful to see all of you here and doing what we're doing here. And I just, with the help of God, I'm hoping that you're all benefiting from this as much as I am. So God bless you all.
We
And
do.
there'll be a class on
Thank you,
Sunday,
Stuart.
and I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Thank you very much, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Oh.
Thank you.